So technically, this is only a half review, or maybe a preview, as the game isn't finished yet. I'm also really only going to talk about the first chapter. Anything else, and I feel like it might spoil too much, or spoil the previous chapter. Anyway, let me get into it. DeLight Journey Home is an emotional, tug-at-your-heartstrings episodic game. At the time of writing and publishing this, there are only 2 chapters available, and the first chapter is free on Steam if you would like to dive in. In DeLight Journey Home, let's just say DeLight, you play as Sammy, a girl who becomes blind while trying to escape her town with her grandfather when war is declared. The main goal throughout the chapters is to reunite with her parents. Additionally, there is Deli, an adorable, just beautiful stray dog that Sammy saves and befriends that helps her navigate the world and protects Sammy when it's necessary. Though it's those two against the wartime world that they happen to find themselves in. From what I can see, and the information that I have, there seem to be 5 chapters planned. Like I said, there's only 2 chapters out right now, and they are available for $2.29 Canadian at least on Steam, but I don't know when they'll be released. It just says pre-order. And like I said, I really don't want to spoil the game and the chapters. While it may not be a visually impressive game, and it's a tad bit clunky in places, the story so far has got me emotionally not ready, but hooked nonetheless. Speaking of visuals, because it's probably obvious, since Sammy is blinded in an accident towards the end of the first chapter, what you see is how she imagines the world to look, because she can't see, she's blind. From the locations she's at to the people, until you get close enough to talk to or literally run into things, everything is dark that's outside of her cone of vision. Using her cane and Deli, they help her navigate places, and especially Deli is really useful to guide her into sneaking past enemy soldiers. There are even some sections that you get to play as Deli, where you clear paths for Sammy. The home screen even changes as the chapters go by. How cute is that? And there's a little cheeky Harry Potter Easter egg in there. I love it. DeLight really pushes that your choices have consequences. It even highlights it in the text. It'll put, your choices have consequences in yellow text. As you go through, you might have to make some tough choices that will affect the people around you, Sam and Deli themselves, and the world you're in, the wartime world you're in. The only choice I want to talk about without, spoiling anything, is picking a fight with the local bully that gave Sammy a scar on her nose. I honestly don't know if it's something that would have happened no matter what, maybe further in the game or not, but what matters is the fact that I chose it, and it made it special. I think it'll be down to future chapters to see if your choices actually have consequences, or if it's the illusion of choice, like Mass Effect 3 style. Each chapter is about 45 minutes, at least that's what it took me to finish them on one playthrough, not going back and replaying to see the other choices. This means, if my horrible math is right, in total, with the 5 chapters that will be available, it'll end up being about 4 to 5 hours, depending on your playstyle and all that, maybe? I don't know. It's up to you. You may also have noticed that it is a bit of a clunky controlling game, and a clunky looking game. Well, let's address that right now. So the clunky visuals. It's not perfect, but it's made by a very small team and a very dedicated team. There are some clipping, there's getting stuck on invisible walls, and not just the walls that Sammy couldn't see. It felt like some of the objects had bigger hitboxes than they were supposed to sometimes, and Sammy would get stuck, especially in the sneaking sections, which are already challenging to navigate. You won't see it in the screenshots, but you'll see how difficult some of them are to navigate. But another thing, you won't see it in the screenshots. I just said that again. Yeah, I know. And you may not even see it in the video, but there is a ton of screen tearing. VSync on and off, global VSync on and off on my NVIDIA settings didn't fix it. I don't know what it was just I couldn't fix the screen tearing. I was like, okay, awesome, cool. It was one of those things, it didn't take it away, but it was so jarring when it happens that it's like, oh, I wish they would fix this. And the last thing, and this is a small thing, but a big thing for me, is they need to change some of the colors for their interactable or prompt, actions. Be it the hand or the stairs or anything that is their prompt to do something, it's white. And half the time I couldn't see it because the game is very light. It uses pastel colors and now there's a lot of white stuff, and I just couldn't see it half the time. It blends in with the backgrounds. The only way you know that you have to do something is either the object you need to interact with takes on a white outline, which is nice, or an invisible wall stops you and you have to try to hunt for the prompt. Now, onto the clunky controls. Surprisingly, this has a QTE section, or if you don't know what QTE means, is quick time events in it. Those work perfectly fine. It's just the wandering around that kind of irks me. Sammy has pretty good control when she's, not getting stuck on something, but the sneaking sections are absolutely the worst. She controls like a tank missing its track, slow almost to the point of getting caught if you get hung up on one of those invisible walls, or if you just time it not perfectly. Add the aforementioned, characters blocking each other, getting stuck on things, and clipping on things, and the controls need just a bit of refinement. Additionally, and probably the most important thing, I couldn't get the controller to work. I could move around for a little bit, and I could advance dialogue, but the dialogue button was the wrong button, and I couldn't rebind them, and I couldn't do the QTE events with the controller. I couldn't pause, I couldn't look at my inventory, and I tried 3 different controllers that all work, and I know they work because I played another game with them not but like 20 minutes earlier, so I don't know what was wrong with the controller or what's wrong with the binding in the game. So that's something to think about. Overall, I think this preview, because it's technically not a review, well, it is a review, whatever. I think DeLight, oh my god, DeLight Home Journey is a game that has a story in it that will take it far. It's gut-wrenching, heartwarming, and engaging at the same time, and we're only in chapter 2 here. In my humble opinion, especially since the first chapter of the game is free and the rest are only $2.29, at least in Canada, on Steam, this is a game to pick up and play. But maybe wait for a more reliable chapter release schedule, because I have seen them have some delays, which makes sense. 2020 is weird. Or wait till all the chapters are out. I feel like this is a game you'll probably want to play in one sitting and just enjoy. It has a lot going for it, but it needs time to be refined and fix some issues, like the controller problem. But you just can't help but fall in love and care for Sammy and Deli in this time that you spend protecting them and guiding them and loving them. I'm also interested to see what my choices will be in the future. This needs a little bit more. It's still a great game, or still a good game, which has a lot going for it. I just think it needs some time. And maybe with the future chapters, things will be refined. Let me know if you'd like me to cover the other chapters, or just do a full review once the game comes out. I'm open to both options. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure you leave your comments below if I did something good, if I did something bad, all that. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.